Father and Son and Holy Spirit, both now and ever into ages of ages. Amen. Today marks the middle point of Lent, and placing the adoration of the Holy Cross at the middle point reminds us of where we're pointing our eyes, which is to the crucifixion of Christ that we will celebrate during Holy Week. It celebrates a couple of occasions. One occasion is when Helene, the empress mother, who was really influential in the conversion of Constantine, the great emperor, who decriminalized Christianity and stopped the persecutions. She made a trip to the Holy Land, determined to reestablish the places associated with Jesus that were of importance for pilgrims to come to. And one of the things when she was there, and she had ordered the building of the great Church of the Resurrection, which is over the place where Christ rose, but it's also over the place of Calvary where Christ was crucified. She wanted to find the true cross, and didn't have any luck initially, and they found an elderly man who knew where the crosses were buried. And so they dug them up, but they had a problem. Anybody guess what the problem was? Which was the right cross?
It was three of them.
Yeah. Which one was the cross that Jesus was crucified on, as opposed to the one that Dismas and the one that the unpenitent thief was. The Patriarch of Jerusalem was there, the patriarchal bishop, and he prayed, and he had an inspiration. And there was a funeral procession going by. And he said, let's touch the crosses to the body. It was a woman. And the first two crosses, nothing happened. And the third cross she set up and was restored to life. And so they carried the cross to a high place where they were going to build the Church of the Resurrection. And all the Christians of Jerusalem came and reverenced and venerated the cross. The second event is some centuries later, when a Persian emperor by the name of Chosroes conquered the Holy Land. And one of the things you did in the ancient days, if you conquered the Holy Land, you took the other people's religious stuff. And so he took the cross, and he took the chalices and everything from the altar. And about 10 years later, a Roman emperor, Byzantine emperor, massed an army and kicked his rear and brought all of the holy things back. When they came to the city, the emperor wanted to carry it in procession into Jerusalem, into the holy city. And he hit an invisible wall. Same kind of wall that Mary of Egypt hit when she tried to go into church in Jerusalem. And he just couldn't carry the cross in. And so the then Patriarch of Jerusalem, who was with him, prayed and came up with inspiration. And he said, you know, you can't carry it in with these fine garments you're wearing, the garments of pride and power. He said, you got to dress like this beggar over here. So the emperor stripped down and changed clothes with the beggar. And he was then able to carry the cross into the city. And again, they reached the porch of the great holy church, the portico. And he stood there, and not only the people in the procession, but the Christians in Jerusalem came and reverenced the cross. Now, the principle of the cross, deny yourself and take your cross up, is something we Christians have had trouble with down through the centuries. When Jesus was clearly the Messiah, even his disciples had problems, because their idea of a Messiah was someone of earthly power, a king who would kick the Romans out and take charge and gold garments on a gold throne. And what they didn't understand is the most powerful energy in the universe is the exact reverse of that. Of someone that was willing to give self up, that was voluntarily willing to let himself be crucified by these angry people who wanted to put him down because they were jealous of him, the leadership of Israel. And he ultimately exercised the greatest power known in the universe by allowing himself to be crucified. Because that day, the laser intensity of evil was focused on him. It thought it won because it was killing him. Even though he told the disciples, put the sword down in the garden the night before, but don't you think I could call down 10 legions of angels and get them? It was by accepting the intensity of evil the intensity of the lie, the intensity of death, the intensity of all the things that Satan could place on him, and allowing it to shatter on himself, because he was the second person of the Trinity and a human being who would not use power and violence to hit back. He would not use power to hit back. He had simply had the power of the humility of God the Son. Now the message we've had trouble getting, and he had said it earlier in his ministry. Anyone who come after me, let him take up his cross, deny himself, and follow me. And we have trouble with that. We want to, in the great holy church, wear fancy garments. We vie for positions in the church and council. We vie for positions in the world in terms of money, in terms of prestige, in terms of power, because we think that's the ultimate power in life. And we miss the point that the ultimate power in life is the self-sacrifice of denying self and pouring oneself out for God and for others. And that's what this Sunday reminds us to do. Not just to adore the cross, but to examine our own lives to see if we are indeed denying ourselves and taking up our cross. In the name of the Father, and Son, and Holy Spirit, both now and ever.